It's Inception. Oh, it's so crazy. Okay, can we see? All right, so hopefully this is what we want to see. Um, hopefully this is, I had to launch it. I had to relaunch it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is, so if you're just relogging on, I'm so sorry. I wanted to share my screen. I didn't open up the Facebook Live the first way I wanted to be able to share my screen. This is the first time we're sharing this way. Welcome to the Facebook Live discussion where we're talking about waterfront property. We're going to talk about coastal erosion. We're going to talk about flooding. We're going to talk about storm surges and not all of the, but a lot of the hazards that come with buying waterfront property and things to be aware of, and some of the resources that are available out there for those of you who are thinking of buying waterfront property. You are not going to necessarily get to look at our faces today. This is going to be a shared screen discussion because a lot of the resources are available to you out there. PEI has been working very hard to make sure that most of the information is available to the people who need it, because we are basically a very beautiful sandbar in the Northumberland Strait. If you didn't know, most of our land is a sandstone. There's not a granite base to our land. It's not overly hard. So we have to be very protective of our land. Because of that, we have to be protective of our water. We have to be protective of our sand dunes. If we're not, then one good storm can really, really affect so much of our island, as we saw with Fiona.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm gonna do is I am going to, my family is from this area right here, just past Stratford. It's called Waterside. And we have some family land that has waterfront over here. So this is Chris. It is the PEI Climate Hazard and Risk Information System. So this is a open source system. Anybody can access it. You can look at it. This shows the high flood hazard based on 2020. You can look, and that is based on like what is the likelihood that that area is going to experience a flood zone in 2020. Okay, due to an extreme storm event. Okay, if you look at moderate to high flood hazard, that is the likelihood that it will experience a flood hazard by 2050. Okay, moderate to low is by 2100. Okay, so that's where you're gonna have like the lighter yellow. Okay, so if we go high, because that's what we want to see, you can load the map. We kind of have it all three here, and that's what this is. So as you can see, this area over here is much more prone to flooding than this area over here. Okay. From what I know of this land, this area here along the road is much lower, and then it goes up in elevation. Not a significant amount, like 10 feet. It is still very accessible to the waterfront. There's not a large cliff. You have a significant amount of crabgrass and other stuff here. There's not a large amount of erosion going on here, but because this is a little bit higher in elevation here, you don't have that flooding risk up on this end of the property. Okay. Now, what I do know, and I can go to this other platform here, this is CHIP. I actually really like this program because this one is a little bit more self-explanatory on the idea that you can even put in an address and it breaks it down based on the actual property boundaries. So I'm like using my hand to like, as if you guys were sitting in the room here with me. The only person who can see me doing this is Brooke. So this line here is gonna be the former high water mark. Basically, when these properties were subdivided, this is gonna be like where the high water mark would have been. Okay. You can even see, like, I know that there used to be like this little triangle mark right here, this little property. That property right there is essentially gone. This small little triangle lot. I know that one is essentially eroded away. Like there's basically nothing there. Okay. So like the reason I feel comfortable talking about this property in particular is that this property is a family property. It's probably never going to go on the market. Therefore, I don't feel like I'm not going to be negatively impacting any resale value of this property. So I'm just kind of showing you how you guys can interpret this when you're looking at potentially buying a property, right? These maps are really useful for seeing like this area here is very prone to flooding. This road is potentially not there in a big storm, right?
We have a question.
Yeah.
Bernadette McDonald is asking, hi Bernadette, asking if you can check North Rustico, please.
Yeah, on which map, Bernadette, are you wondering? Are you wondering on the chip or on the Chris map? I like the chip map.
Let's do both.
So if you go to North Rustico, which is up here, just give it a minute. Oh, I moved too fast for it. It didn't like that. There we go. So like all of these, and you'll see this with like a lot of these outer, like Robinson's Island. Like, I mean, this is where Brackley Beach was, right? If we go along here, like this is where the road was washed away, right? During Fiona.
Yeah.
Like this was all decimated, like right here, wasn't it? Isn't this where the road was like completely gone?
Pretty much, yeah. And they had to restore quite a bit of the majority of that coastline.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you swing over to Rustico from there.
Yeah. Or like right here even too. And Robinson's Island is completely closed now to cars. Yeah. So, wow, you forget how close Robinson's Island is to Rustico.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So here's North Rustico here. And this is why this is where the Blue Mussel Cafe is. And they're moving.
Yeah.
Right? Because like they're not able to keep their restaurant there anymore is what I heard.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. A lot of places like here on the waterfront, like down here, like that's all red. And so there's a lot of places there that are just like it's hard to find.
So when you see, can you check on the Chris? Is this the Chris?
This is the chip.
This is chip. Okay, so here we have high risk in the red.
Yep.
Low risk is not even far up, but that North Rustico has quite an elevation up from the water. So depending on where you are,
like this is quite like Lantern Hill Drive here. This is all like there's quite a big hill there, right?
Yep. So folks that have their properties closer down to the shoreline, even the elevation there is enough to kind of keep, at least that high risk at bay. In a storm, please, Bernadette is asking.
In a storm.
Not sure what you mean by that, Bernadette. Can you just elaborate on that? Can we flip over to the chip or to the crisp?
To the crisp and
crisp and chip. That's what I have in my head.
So North Rustico is up here. Where am I? I'm too far. Gulf Shore.
There we go.
So this is North Rustico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, like they do show very similar things.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I know. What have I've done something different.
I'm really just down the street from there. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, with the thing with the CRIS map is that they have these points of data that they have like specific, like literal data points. So you can see here, like if you go out here to this point at the end of the, whatever that thing's called, you can see that like that it has changed by a certain amount, like the cliff, the coast, what the erosion has changed by. So here, the change by distance. So between 1968 to 2020, it changed by 10.61 meters. Now that's over 40 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then from 2000 to 2020, it changed by 6 meters. So of that initial 40 years, 6 of the meters happened during the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
From 2010 to 2020, 2 meters happened. And from 2020 to 2022, it was less than a meter. So you can see the change by rate,
Mm-hmm.
like what it's happening. And you can see like when it's happening the most and when we've had the most change. So the thing that is really good by Chris is like you can see like, when is it happening? When is the most rate happening? And you can see here that like there's been a significant decrease in the rate of change.
Mm-hmm.
So they're obviously doing something here
Mm-hmm.
to decrease the rate of change,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
If you go in, like you can see here that you have like a hot spot, but if you go in, like these inner places, they have a significantly less of a rate of change. And so you're gonna see like inland along the rivers, you're probably gonna have less of an erosion issue because
Mm-hmm.
you have less storm surge.
Yep.
The rivers they're able to absorb a lot more. And I'm throwing back to my biology degree here. They're able to absorb a lot more of the surge of the storm just because they have to get through the whole river system. Just that is the whole point of like a water system, is that the ecology of an ecosystem is that it's able to buffer those extreme systems.
Mm-hmm.
So what I have here is I'm putting together a resource for everybody to kind of have. PEI does actually have a resource. And actually, I don't even know why I would bother putting together my own, because PEI, actually, I found this as part of it. As part of my research, I was like, I'm going to put together a resource. And then I found this and I was like, actually, I don't think I should. Because as part of this resource, they actually have at the very back all of these amazing QR codes to show you additional resources. So
we get a lot of questions with clients looking to purchase on the island or build on the island about water view, waterfront, and so this is something we kind of generally have to keep up and up with. Just know that this information is out here. We're going to post this on the page as well following the live. here, but yeah, this is information that we get a lot of inquiries about from clients.
Yeah, so you have right here, like there's a QR code and you guys, if you have your phone on you and you don't know how to use a QR code, let's just do a quick little open up your phone photo camera, okay, and point your camera at one of the QR codes, okay, and you should be able to zoom in on one, theoretically. Mine's not really working right now. And when you zoom in on one, a little box should appear and then it should bring up a link. And if you just tap on that link, your phone will automatically open up in your browser what it is, okay? So that's how you use a QR code, real fast. I know there has been some questions about what happens if you own a waterfront property and there is something like Hurricane Fiona and you need additional assistance. There is the Federal Disaster Financial Assistance Program. There are stipulations about how you can use it and stuff. I do not know that much about it. I am going to say I didn't get that far into that rabbit hole of getting additional financial assistance. So maybe that'll be like some I can't sleep at night rabbit hole that I fall down. But there is some, if that is something that you're concerned about, like there is that there. And then planning authorities. So there is that there. And then again, shoreline stabilization. That is something that you can look at. If you're buying a waterfront property and you are really concerned about the shoreline eroding away, there is shoreline stabilization programs that you could implement, but they are expensive. Basically, if you're buying it and you know that it's eroding away, then it's pretty much on you to financially stabilize the shoreline. This does talk about, however, your well. It does talk about your water well, your septic field, your septic tank, the beach water course, and things like that, which is very good to know.
Yep.
There does need to be a certain amount of distance between your water well, the septic field, but then also between the well, the buffer zone, and the salt water to prevent salt water from getting into your well. I know we've had questions before on the group about people having concerns about salt water getting into their well.
Right.
The company that drills the well is very kind of they are very experienced. There's not that many well digging companies on PEI, and by digging I mean drilling. Most wells are drilled here. So often, or there was the concern about a well going dry this summer because it was so dry. Right. And really, there wasn't that many occurrences that we heard of. I don't think I heard of one, really. No. You just have to go deep enough. Yep. And that's the thing. So here, I did see it. Here. Yeah. So salt water in the aquifer, freshwater aquifer. So you just have to go deep enough to go. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I leave that up to the well company though, to be honest.
That's their wheelhouse.
That is the wheelhouse, or their well house, I should say.
But this is a great guide to if you're considering building and you are putting a waterfront property together. You can determine what kinds of questions to ask, and this is going to be kind of a steadfast resource for you, because they're going to speak a certain language when it comes to drilling a well, and this will give you the up and up on that. Yeah. And of course, just like all the data that is collected, this is going to be par for change. You know, as the landscape changes and the water table changes, and climate changes.
Yeah,
So-
but like I said, there's been one thing that the climate center has been doing really well with, and that the government has been doing really well at funding as well, which is ensuring that we are understanding how the landscape of PEI has been changing
Yeah.
with respect to global warming and coastal erosion and flooding and stuff like that. So I am really happy with like knowing that. And I do wish that there was almost like a required assessment done on a property
Right.
before like you built on it, kind of thing, that was like you have to know like where, like what is going on. Like I do wish that there was like almost like a do you know what you're getting into kind of thing. But that's more just like a
Yep.
that's more of a me thing. I don't know. Yeah, the last thing that I kind of thought we could talk about was IRAC.
Right.
So I know, for those of you who haven't heard us say it before, IRAC, the non-governmental agency of PEI, not the country, IRAC, not IRAQ, is the Island Regulatory and Appeals Commission. It is the, we call it, it regulates different things on PEI, including the rentals. It regulates gas prices. It regulates electricity. It regulates insurance. It regulates. There's been a couple other things, but it does regulate lands protection.
Yes.
So unless you are a resident of PEI, and you must have been a resident for
12 of the last 24 months.
yes, 12 of the last 24 months, and we were just improving our knowledge of IRAC this past month for some clients. So you have to be a resident for 12 of the last 24 months to forego an IRAC application.
That's correct.
And so if you don't, even if you're living here right now, it doesn't matter. You have to be a resident for 12 of the last 24 months.
Yep.
You could be a resident for 6 months, leave for 6 months, be back for 6 months, leave for 6 months, and be coming back. And that would be okay, because you're 12 for 24.
You want to turn on the camera?
Oh, can I? No, because then I go into this.
Okay, gotcha.
I go into the inception of.
Gotcha.
That's
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, scratch it. Sorry.
We'll put this back up. Yeah, this is Chip. This is Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah, the island looks very depressing when you look at it like this.
that's funny.
Don't look at that. Sorry, so IRAC.
Yeah.
So if you are buying a property, and this is assuming that you are a resident of Canada / Canadian citizen, and therefore do not get negated by the non-resident,
Non-buyers.
not the
resident
foreign
buyers.
buyer ban. Okay, so we're just assuming that you don't get negated by the foreign buyer ban, because that's a whole other thing. So if you're buying on PEI, but you're a non-resident, and you are buying more than 165 feet of waterfront, and or more than 5 acres
Yep.
of land.
Yes.
Have we clarified if it's water frontage? Does a river count as water frontage?
I don't know the answer to that. Let's put a pin in that and determine.
I know that's always been like
Question.
I always lawyer myself on that. I should
Yeah.
have been a lawyer sometimes.
Right, so, yeah.
I get
go
in
back to
like
yeah,
lawyer discussions with myself.
Right.
Yeah. Because they do list it. Because then it's also like, is it a freshwater river or is it a saltwater river too? Because like the New Glasgow River is a saltwater river because it feeds out.
I'll look that up.
Yeah,
while
because
you're confirming.
because I've actually read the Lands Protection Act and it just says water frontage,
Mhm. Okay.
and I've looked at the definition and now I'm second guessing myself. Sorry guys. I'm now like Laura, I've read the act. Like I've actually sat down and read the legislative act.
Including rivers.
Including rivers?
Yep. The Island Regulatory and Appeals Commission uses the term shore frontage to refer to property bordering any body of water, including rivers.
Okay.
Therefore, the property with 165 feet of waterfront on a river is included in the IRAC's definition of land subject to regulations under the Lands Protection Act.
Okay,
so-
that is
so-
the AI overview though from Google, which has been proven to be wrong, but we will double check that. Okay, so what that means is that if you are buying a water frontage that has 165 feet, then there is an extra condition in addition to like your inspection, insurance, financing, title, all of those. Okay, we actually have an extra conditional clause in our agreement of purchase and sale for the IRAC condition. And it's one thing that we have to submit an application. With that application, the application cost is it goes through your lawyer. We got a couple quotes from different lawyers. It costs, one lawyer said $500, one lawyer said $450 for a personal purchase, $700 for a corporate purchase. So that's about what you're looking at. And then plus 1% of the purchase price of the property. So what that means is $500 plus if you're buying a $700,000 property, you have to pay an extra $7,000.
Yes.
$7,000 plus the $500. Okay. We were just looking at the timeline. For example, the next application date is November 5th. Can you bring up those dates that we just sent out? The next application date is due by noon of September 5th. The commission meets then on November 13th. They then submit their recommendation to executive council. The council meets on November 25th. Basically the executive council renders a judgment based on the commission's recommendation, and then the commission sends the executive council's rendering of the decision. And then it gets sent to your lawyer whether your application was accepted or rejected.
Yeah.
Okay. So depending on how that goes. Now, there are some places that are considered hotspots. This is Point Prim. Point Prim has a high number of non-residents. This is considered a red flagged area. So if you are not planning to move here and live here, but you're just buying a property,
Then that's more of a red flag.
that's more of a red flag.
Yep.
If you're planning to move here and live here and raise your kids here or retire here and become part of the community, then your application looks a lot better.
Yep.
If you're just planning to have a house here that you come here for once a week in the summer, then maybe don't look at a place that's a red flag zone of a high number of non-residents that you would then have to submit an application. Can you check our Facebook just to make sure there's no comments? Just because they don't want a high number of non-residents to own a significant portion of the property.
Correct.
The whole point of the Lands Protection Act is to keep the land of the island in the hands of islanders, whether that is new islanders coming to live here and be islanders, or whether it's people already living here being islanders. It doesn't matter. But what they don't want is a bunch of people who don't live here owning island land. That's the whole point of the Lands Protection Act. So that's the IRAC application. Did I miss anything on that?
No,
Really?
that's pretty, we'll just put up the application. There's a good list of Q&A around the application process, what is prone to being not approved, some of the points that Amy made, and what kinds of things they're looking for in applications. No, and then there's also a schedule there that you can identify when, if you're applying for with IRAC, then you can kind of outline your their hearing schedule for the coming weeks. Yeah, so if anything, it is, if you are someone who's going to be buying something that is prone to or subject to an IRAC application, then you need to start kind of gathering the information, but schedule to count that in with your conditions of your purchase and sale, so that it coordinates with the decision timeline of the IRAC. And just know that it's bound to kind of elongate or delay the conditions period. Yeah.
The other thing to keep in mind is that you probably want to have your other conditions taken care of, for example, like the inspection, and then get into the IRAC application. If, for example, you have them overlap, and then there's something significantly wrong with the house, that maybe negotiations fall apart and you end up walking away from the purchase of the house, but you've already submitted the application and paid the application fee, that you then cancel the application fee or the application, you would only get back 50% of the application fee. So if you paid the $7,000, you're gonna lose 50% of it potentially all of it. So that is an unexpected cost that you would have to eat. So that's just something to keep in mind. So you have your 2-week window for your financing, inspection, insurance conditions, and then you get into the IRAC condition, and then you get into the closing, right? So there is just like that extra window. One of the things that we would recommend is, I'm not a fan of, and I've said this many times to like our clients, I'm not a fan of pushing like the letters that are like, oh, this is our dream home, like the sappy ones that, I don't know, I kind of tend to find them a bit manipulative. But I would definitely lean towards a letter that says, we are moving here, we are planning to raise our kids here or retire here or something like that, in a way to minimize the idea that you have to go through an IRAC application. The fact that you're relocating here means that the IRAC application should be less of a concern, because you're not just buying it as a second home or as a cottage or anything like that. You're planning to live in it as your primary residence. Therefore, there probably wouldn't be any reason that it should be denied, especially if you have other ties to the local area already. All right.
Totally.
Is there any questions that you guys have about any other waterfront areas? I know Bernadette, you were talking about flooding. Again, with like the coastal hazard with North Rustico, it really is just like right in here is the only place that's a moderate risk.
Oh, here we go. How long do you have to live on the island before no longer require an application? That's okay. Hi, Shauna. It's you have to live here on the island for 12 of the last 24 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 12. I'm just going to respond to you as well. You must live on the island for the last 12 question. Yep.
Bernadette, do you have any more insight about where you are in North Rustico that you're concerned about the flooding? If you're still around.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're gonna post these website resources onto you, and then folks like you, Shauna, for instance, and Bernadette, who are looking to build and or live in kind of low-lying areas close to the water.
Here's Greenwich Beach.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Right? Oh. I'm a biology nerd, so like I find this stuff so interesting, and I studied specifically ecology, like not the genetics and all that boring stuff. This is like the stuff that I actually like super love. So yeah, like if you get into things like that's Little Sands. I was looking for this Palmer Island. Like one good storm would so take out. Well, I guess like if you look at like the causeway, like connecting Palmer Island, like there's a good amount of green there, right? Like even Palmer Island itself is like pretty strong.
The interesting thing is that a lot of this isn't really going to happen in our lifetimes.
Speak for yourself. I'm living to like 150.
You are, okay. Well, that's fine. Dennis
Oh,
just went through IRAC, and the lawyer actually made us sign an affidavit stating that we were moving to permanently and that would help the application. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So that is a good point, Dennis. Thanks for putting that together or pointing that out.
Yeah.
So an affidavit would state that you are here permanently, and you are, Denis, not Dennis. You are here permanently to the island, and
or moving permanently. Yeah.
To the island / raising kids / pursuing a career, etc. So.
Or in Denny's case, he's retiring here.
That's right. So yeah, great point to put out, and that's an easy process. That's only going to help your application.
Exactly.
And it's a legal document backed by your lawyer. So in most ways, to Amy's point too about writing a sappy letter, that's not always the approach that some folks take. Some do. It really depends on your your value system. And
for me it's more just that like sometimes even just like other realtors, like they can be put off by the idea that you have to do like that there's an IRAC application.
Yeah.
So by putting a letter in there, you're minimizing like the idea that it could be less of a sure thing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep. It's reassurance.
Yeah, exactly. It's more just reassurance.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more my thing. Yeah.
You're not alone in that though. Like there was a time when those letters were kind of used prevalently, and it was more
especially in like the COVID
era.
Yeah.
People were like moving to the island sight unseen and just gobbling up properties out of kind of sheer panic, and then
or just like when there was like 30 offers on a place and like
so we don't
it was like the only chance you had at like differentiating your offer against another one.
But just get your facts, have your lawyer back you up with documents like an affidavit that'll just state what's needed to state, and and then you can send photos of your cute kids or puppies along with the backup. That's good. I think that's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Experiences? Cute photos of puppies and kids?
Yeah.
Well, Halloween has been postponed here from tonight to tomorrow. We are supposed to get something like 30 millimeters of rain tonight, today, and then it's pretty windy and unpleasant out there right now. So I'm just checking the weather. We have a special weather statement, and then we have another one as Melissa passes to the south of us. Thank goodness it's staying pretty south. I've heard it's a doozy of a storm. And then it's supposed to rain for like the next week.
I know.
Like,
I know.
actually.
I know.
So, yeah. And
Not-
it's supposed to be another doozy of a rain day on Tuesday,
I
too.
know.
Yeah, so that's great. Where it's okay, we are in desperate need of some rain. Hopefully, nobody gets any flooding or storm surges. And yeah, if you guys ever have any questions about a property in particular, about looking at it on either of these platforms and what to look for, please let me know. I love to nerd out on stuff like this.
It really is your jam.
It really is. It really, really is. I am such a nerd. Yeah, and like I said, we're here if you ever have any questions. And
And where are we now? Can you just point us out directly where we are sitting currently at our office?
oh, we're sitting in our office
Where are we?
in Charlottetown.
Yeah.
We're over here.
Show the people.
Where are we? There's
That's the bridge.
oh, that's the bridge. We're not
other
there.
Way, other way.
There we go.
There we go.
We're in Charlottetown.
Right
up here.
That's Hillsborough.
And Highfield. We're in the green. We're not flooding.
Yeah.
We're not gonna flood. We're gonna Melody Lane. We're right here.
Right here. That's us. That's where
Right
we're
here.
sitting right now in our little office.
And apparently there is no chance of flooding.
No. But we have lots of rain coming down out the window here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sideways rain too. Oh, fun. Good times. Well, listen, you guys stay cozy, and Bernadette, folks like you that are living near the water, just, hunker down, be cozy. And
Stay dry.
Stay dry, and please drive safe. And again, Amy and I are always here to answer any real estate or PEI questions that you may have. Same with all the folks that participate daily on this page. You guys continue to be welcoming and, really informative. So
Yeah.
good on yous. That's
Yeah.
why we created this page. It's awesome.
Here's my inception of Facebook Live. I don't want to stop sharing because I'm scared it'll end the live video.
Oh, there's a bottom. Yeah, it says stop sharing.
I know, but what happens if I stop sharing?
Just in case. Bye,
Just in
guys.
case. Bye.